New South Wales hit its 80% double dose target over the weekend, while Victoria is poised to reach the 70% goal later this week. ABC analyst Casey Briggs has been crunching the numbers. He joins us now. Casey, great to see you. Let's start with Victoria. The lockdown finally ends on Friday. How will the vaccination rate be as Victorians come out of lockdown? And importantly, what will it mean for case numbers?
Yeah, it's a big question that we want to watch closely in the Monday gremlins. So these are the vaccination rates in every state and territory across the country at the moment. This is the 16 plus population. In Victoria, 66% as of right now have been double dosed. And when will we get to 70? Well, pretty much bang on Thursday on the current trajectory. So Victoria will be opening up, ending this lockdown, entering the closed and open state where we've got some rules lifting, but other rules remaining in place. Pretty well bang on 70%, and we'll be doing it, if I just show you the case numbers briefly, when we won't be able to be in a clear position to say that Victoria has definitely peaked. We hope. We may have already seen it, but we can't really be sure of that just yet. And we've seen that this curve has confounded us before. So regardless of where the case numbers are at, we'll be in a situation come Thursday, come Friday, when the lockdown lifts, that the rate of reproduction will be higher than what it was when New South Wales went to its 70% easing just a week ago. And the other thing that we'll be looking at is that hospitalisation numbers are continuing to build and will be continuing to build. So that's not a criticism of the decision to ease the lockdown at this point. It's just a kind of the reality is there's a bit less buffer there's a bit less sort of room for error in what Victoria's doing here than what we've seen happen in New South Wales. And if case numbers do start to rise because the reproduction rate is higher at the moment in Victoria than New South Wales, you'll see a trend upward a little bit quicker. Now, having said that, the vaccination numbers are continuing to grow, and they will continue to grow quickly from that 70% at the end of the week. We're already at 88% of the 16 plus population on first doses. So within, the next 4, maybe 5 or 6 weeks, you'll expect Victoria to really be at 90% for a double dosed. And so there's a lot of improvement still to come. So hopefully we can zip past 70 straight up to 80, and that will continue to put downward pressure. But yeah, it is a bit of a sort of different situation to what we saw with New South Wales and what we're currently seeing in New South Wales, where we're yet to see an upturn in case numbers because the reproduction number was able to get well below 1.
Of course. Now, so what about the states without outbreaks with much lower vaccine coverage? How quickly can they catch up, Casey?
Yeah, so we haven't really seen the same surges in the outbreak-affected states, barring Tasmania, that we've seen in these 4 states and territories down the bottom of the list. They are now, thankfully, all above 70% single dose, so they're well on the way to phase B, getting 70% double dose, but not at the sorts of speeds that we have been seeing. Now, there's no reason for us to really think that the views, the population is particularly different in, say, South Australia as it is to Victoria when it comes to vaccination. I think that we'll eventually end up at the same point. The question will be just how long it takes, and is it going to take incursions of the virus to get there? Or hopefully not. Hopefully we get very high numbers before then. But you look at, say, Queensland, they've actually on first dose has been slowing down, if anything, in the last over the last sort of week or so. Let me just show you the states and territories. This one's Queensland. Flat for a while, and just in this last little period, 44,500 doses being done a day, maybe starting to slow down. Now, they have seen some success in the form of the Bunnings vaccination clinics over the weekend, and I don't know that we've seen every single dose that's been done through those over the weekend yet, so we might see an uplift there. I think Queensland's finding that getting out of the mass vaccination clinics and to the community, getting doses as close to people as possible, does have an impact in encouraging people to get vaccinated. It's probably also a bit of a novel thing to do, right? Getting your jab and a snag at the same time. So hopefully we do see some speeding up, but at the moment we're seeing flat trajectories in every other state, and maybe even in some starting to slow down.
Okay, which we wouldn't want to see at all. Now, for quite some time, Australia has been sitting right at the bottom of the OECD countries for vaccine coverage, but now we have some of the most vaccinated cities in the world, Casey. So how far up that pecking order has Australia climbed?
Yeah, what I want to show you the first dose rates across the whole population in the OECD countries, the sort of developed group of industrialised countries. As well as that, each state and territory separately, because you can start to see where states are falling, but also because some of the higher vaccinated states, expectation that all other states will get there as well. So top of the list, Portugal, 88.3%. That is the gold standard, the diamond standard of vaccinations at the moment in the world. 83.6% in Chile, Iceland 82.2%, and then fourth is the ACT. So Canberra is extremely vaccinated when it comes to first doses, and we know they're going very well on second doses as well. Canberra, if Canberra were a country, it would be fourth in the OECD at the moment. Spain, Canada, and then you get to New South Wales at 77.5%. You can see we're about to overtake Canada as well. So rapidly, Australia is looking like it's becoming one of the most vaccinated places in the world. If you go a little bit further down, Denmark, Norway, so countries we've been aspiring to look like in terms of a vaccination rate, New South Wales has now exceeded on first doses. A little bit further down, now there's a fair few countries in here before you get to Victoria, but I think it won't take too long to jump past some of these because they're all bunched up at about 75%. So you'll skip all the way up towards the sort of Scandinavian countries pretty quickly. And then the other states which haven't had outbreaks are a little bit lower. Tasmania, 69.7. Again, this is out of total population, including children. And South Australia, WA and Queensland further down the bottom. But the point remains, from very much at the bottom of the list, just, 3 weeks ago, Australia was in the bottom third of countries here. We're now looking like we'll end up in the sort of top 4, 5, 6 in the world. So quite the rapid ramping up. And just before I leave you, Michael, Australians love a competition. We'd love to be number 1 in the world. Portugal, though, unfortunately, it is mathematically not possible for us to beat Portugal at the moment.
Oh, why? I was hoping we'd get there.
Yeah, you'd hope. At least not until 5 to 11-year-olds can get vaccinated, because we just don't have enough 12-plus Australians to get above 88.3% of our total population. So we cannot be number 1 just yet. Maybe when the TGA, if and when the TGA approves the vaccine for younger kids, then Portugal's in our sights.
Okay, it's a patient game. We'll get there in the end when that happens, I'm sure. Hey, Casey, as always, thank you, mate. That's very informative.